Hello and welcome to day four. Oh my gosh, here we are already on day four of the Infinite Abundance Challenge. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you again to everyone who's been liking and commenting the videos. So great to be with you all today on day four, which is action. This is a very special. It is action. So action is the thing that gets you the results. Like action is the thing that leads to the results. Action is the real only thing that produces outcomes. Of course, thoughts create reality. We'll talk a bit about thoughts today. And we know that feelings also have work as well. If you're in this work and then you're in this space, you know that feelings have a big impact. However, action is the thing that produces results. Action is the thing that you have to do and take in order to get your actual manifestation. Now, the funny thing is I myself, and I'm sure many of you, if you're a student of the law of attraction, is that we neglect the action often. Or in the beginning, while learning this process, we neglected action. So we watched The Secret, like we said yesterday or the other day. It's like, okay, with it now we think, oh, great, money's just going to come. It's just going to land in my lap. It's just going to, people with bags of money are just going to drop it off. I just have to sit on my couch. No, no, let's dispel the myths. You have to take the action. However, what I've learned recently is that the action is supposed to be joyful. Thank goodness to my friend Dominic Scafidi, who really understands this concept, who really drilled it home for me. Your action is supposed to be joyful. He calls it delightful action. He calls it joyful action, inspired action. When you get an idea, download it into your consciousness, download it into your mind, you receive it all of a sudden out of the blue, out of nowhere. That is the action you're supposed to take. That's an idea from source. That's an inspired action. That's an idea from your higher self. Those are the best ideas to act upon. Not necessarily the only ideas, but the best ideas to act upon. So, this is part of getting out of your own way. This is part of getting into flow. This is part of manifesting. This 5 days is about manifesting abundance, realizing your true nature, your true abundance, infinite abundance. And you do that through inspired actions, especially the magical thing about inspired action as opposed to regular normal everyday action. I have to send that email, I have to follow up with that person. Those are kind of normal everyday actions. I have to feed my kids, I have to eat, whatever. Those are like everyday, you have to kind of actions, let's say. The difference between that and inspired action is that inspired action has leverage, what's called leverage. It's got extra power, additional power. It's got additional momentum. Because those ideas come from source, they're pure, they're high consciousness, they're highly inspired, highly effective, powerful actions that will lead to even greater results and with minimal effort. So juicy, so rich. If you've heard Abraham Hicks talk about effort, she says we're not a fan of effort. We're not a fan of efforting. So that's like, the churning kind of have to heavy, actions that you don't want to take versus the inspired actions, which have leverage and have additional power that is delightful. So you enjoy taking those actions and they're full of power. They're full of large return or large ROI for minimal effort producing maximum results. This is like the gold of the gold of the gold, in my opinion. So while action is a necessary component, two different kinds of action: regular, everyday, have to actions, shoulds, let's say, and then leverage actions with alignment, with inspiration from a higher power, a higher source that contain a greater pow punch, if you will, that produce more results. Merav, what do you think?
Well, I love that. And as you know, we shared, as friends, we shared just a little bit a few minutes ago. I know I was in that world of hustle culture for a long time. For many years, I thrived in that world of hustle culture and I got a lot done. Oh my gosh, like opportunities came on my lap and I got them done and I hustled and I got this. And it makes for an impressive, resume, but it's like perfect recipe for burnout. And then it's sort of like, well, it does that make it inspired action then. And now I'm taking a very different approach to life. Like I, shared with you yesterday, you know, Netflixed and chilled with myself. Right? I went took myself on a couch date and put the food out, for my kids and sat there with my drink of choice and just let myself have this vegged out day. But the funny thing is, it also led me to watch something on Netflix that was really inspiring for me for my future career and where I'm taking it. And it's sort of like if I hadn't taken that pause out of hustle culture and into just sort of like what feels aligned, what feels right with me right now. Oh, well, I'm inspired to watch Netflix. That doesn't seem like it's very productive. But because I was listening to my intuition, you know, if I consider hustle culture comes from a place of lack, because then you feel like you have to do something that you're not necessarily inspired to do, but you have to do it because, like, that's what business looks like. Who says? Who created that? Like, at what point did humans like come to this place that says like we have to put in this many hours in an office or in an office hours kind of mentality? Well, that's a product of the Industrial Revolution, or there was no thing prior to these containers that we've put ourselves in that looked like we have to work for this many hours, or we can't take, especially in the winter, right? This is one of the beautiful parts of winter, is that the sun goes down much earlier. And so the evening hours, I mean, there was a time where just to keep, the house alight and warm, uh, would have to be like we were going to sleep much earlier, waking up. Like there's a lot of historical evidence to prove that humans actually have a very different circadian rhythm than the one that we are keeping now. And then the best part about that is, this is what I was going to say earlier about the action doesn't actually have to be look like anything. As humans, we have this strange thing called an opposable thumb. And over the time of our history, humans have created this thing called a pen that's held in our opposable thumb and fingers that allows us to write. And
Right.
writing is an action. Taking action could be as insignificant or as we consider insignificant. It doesn't have to be churning out material, creating content, making videos, writing books, giving TED Talks. It doesn't have to be all that. It could be as simple as writing down, and anything that you write down is taking action. You have
Mm,
changed the cellular structure of the paper with the ink. You have now created something. That
hmm.
new ink, that inked information or thoughts or inspiration that you've written down has now changed the world. It might seem like an insignificant way, but that action by itself has a tremendous ripple effect
Yeah.
outwards. So if the only action you've taken is writing something down, that's already action.
That's amazing. I love writing. We've talked about writing a few times in this course so far. We've talked about, writing a bunch of times because it's so important to have things written down. And you're right. You take something from the non-physical and bring it into the physical when you write it down. You're creating something. That's a powerful act of creation, right? And I want to share some inspired action. Sometimes I'm inspired to just write as well, and I know you're going to talk about that and share with everyone in a few minutes, which is amazing. I want to share some examples of inspired actions in my life that have produced tangible results that came out of nowhere. So when I was in Barranquilla, in Colombia, traveling throughout COVID, um, going to Barranquilla was kind of something I was curious about and interested in. I wanted to go there. I had feelings about it that where I felt like that would be better. I could have done Cartagena, Medellin, I could have done Bogota, all these places, but something felt and kind of drew me towards Barranquilla. So I went there, and then I'm there probably my second day. I'm getting settled. I don't know anyone. I don't know anyone in Barranquilla. I only know Shakira is from there and Sofia Vergara is from there, and I love beautiful women, and I feel like going there for some reason. I don't know why. So one day I kind of wake up. I have a day full of calls. Well, those calls started getting rescheduled and rearranged. So and so was sick. So and so had a delay. So and so had something with their kids. all of a sudden my whole day is free. And I'm like, that's so weird. That's odd. That's interesting. What should I do? And I get the idea to go get a massage. I go, okay, sure, no problem. Why not? Could use some relaxation, whatever, stressful travel. Came from, somewhere else, whatever. And I go on Google Maps and I look and I go, okay, there's this place near me and there's this place near me. Which one feels better? Key question, which you said earlier. What do I feel like doing? What feels good? Last night, Netflix binge, whatever feels good. Abraham says, do it, whatever it takes. So I go and I look and I go, that one or that one? Well, that one's a little closer, but that one feels a lot better for some reason. I go to that one that feels better. I'm sitting in the waiting area and they're serving me tea and that sort of thing, getting ready for the, room and all that stuff. And this guy next to me goes, "Hi, mate, where are you from?" I look over, I go, what the hell is going on? He's a Latin man. I'm in Colombia. He's a lighter skinned dude. But he's speaking to me in an Australian accent, but he looks like a Colombian. And I go, what the heck is going on? So we chat, we start talking, whatever. He ends up being my best friend in Colombia. He's still one of my very good friends. He's still one of my very good friends. And we have this amazing conversation. We're still in touch. He's still a great guy. I'm now close with his family like this. And then also next to me on the other side was this beautiful woman. And long story short, I end up hitting it off with this woman, and we have a long, like 9 months dating relationship, which is one of the best relationships I've had since my divorce. I don't live in Colombia anymore, whatever. But this one day, this one inspired action was like just I don't understand how the universe orchestrated all my calls to get rearranged and rescheduled. And what are the odds that that guy was at that massage place on that day at that same time as me, and we ended up becoming like super good friends, and I still talk to him. And then that woman who's knockout gorgeous was there in that moment, and all the variables that had to happen for me to meet these two amazing people and have these two incredible relationships where the universe arranged everything. Now, had I gone practical and been like, oh, that place is closer, I should go there. No, I went with what felt good. I went with the inspiration. I went with the inspired idea of getting a massage. I could have done other work. I could have gone other places. The idea I received was go get a massage after the universe had cleared my schedule. And that's just one example. The other example I want to share is I was sitting with a friend many, many years ago, and we were just kind of brainstorming ideas and just talking about cool, fun things. And then randomly, I got this one idea for this one type of seminar that we should do that would be a lot of fun, kind of a crazy idea. And I got this idea. What if we did a seminar on this? And it wasn't something that I generated. It was a received, downloaded in a moment of chill, relaxed freedom. And I had received the idea in my consciousness. And it was like, we should do this kind of seminar. And we would call it this, and we would call it that. And we would talk about this, and we would talk about that. And then my friend started like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then like next thing we know, we're putting it to paper. We're putting pen to paper and we're putting ideas down. And we ended up doing this seminar, long story short, for several years, and it was very profitable and tons of fun and crazy and outrageous, and it was really awesome. And it ended up being very successful, high in demand, sold out like almost every time, and helped a ton of people in the process. So two cool ideas in my life where we had, I had taken action on inspired ideas and ran with it, and amazing results and amazing things and fun, awesome manifestations came out of it. So that's what I wanted to share. What would you like to share, Merav, on your side?
Well, I love that because that actually segues us perfectly into what I was going to say is, I made mention of how important it is to actually write something down. And what you just gave was a perfect example of this writing exercise. And if this is all you do today, and I know you're going to give us the challenge in a minute, but this segues us perfectly because what you just gave uh, was exactly, you gave us some stories that kind of started with the words, I remember when. I remember when I did this. I remember when I did this. I remember when I did this. And you gave us these memories of things that really worked out and became really inspired. Well, this is a little, Neville Goddard trick that I sort of took and remade as my own. But how about starting your scripting exercise today with a technique that says, I remember when, and then start writing all those things that maybe your memory hasn't yet seen them occur, but you're speaking about them in the present, or in the time period that you remember when, and having such joy like you just had. Like, I remember when I followed my intuition and found this great friend and this beautiful relationship just because of using my intuition. And then let the universe, or as we said, the RAS, let the momentum, the inspired energy take over from there. You don't need to even script anything more than that, but you'll start to see that those things will start to manifest just by scripting. I remember when. I know that I use this, and it's even I can say I remember when I used the I remember when. In 2018, when I was really starting to see a lot of uh, forward momentum with my speaking career, I actually wrote, I remember when I gave a TEDx talk. And wouldn't you know, within no time, I was invited. I didn't even apply, but I got two TEDx talks just from the I remember when I gave a TEDx talk. There was no goal setting, there was no future faking. It was literally just me writing, I remember when I gave a TEDx talk. And now I remember when I gave two. So it's incredible because I created the idea and put it on paper. I created something out of nothing. So try that today. I remember when, and start putting all those. You don't have to have goals, you have memories of the things you've already achieved.
Amazing. And that's
Yeah,
part of writing and putting it pen to paper, right? That's another pen to
that's
paper
right.
exercise.
Yeah, yeah,
Amazing, amazing, amazing. So I love day four. I love action. Sometimes I love, sometimes I mean, I love action because I believe that action is the crystallization of your intention. So today is about action. This is day four. This is achieve. This is where you actually achieve the thing that you want and you take action towards it. Action is a necessary component, and action is the crystallization of your intention. So today's really kind of short and sweet and simple and straightforward. The challenge for today is take three inspired actions, or take three delightful, blissful actions today. So take three. If you can't take three, take as many as you can, move it into tomorrow. Take three in the next 24 to 48 hours. If you're not sure what those are, refer to your earlier list of what brings you joy and pay attention. And as my other friend George says, listen to the whispers. The whispers,
yeah.
the quiet voice, the subtle voice is the one from the universe, from your higher self, from real abundance. It doesn't shout, it doesn't scream, it whispers. So listen for the whispers, take the inspired actions, the actions that you receive divinely into your consciousness from source and all that is, and take those actions as well as any other actions that bring you joy today. Merav, anything to say before we sign off for the day?
This has been a joy. I'm going to go write out my I remember when list. Thank you so
Beautiful.
much, Michael.
Beautiful. Have a great day, everyone. Day four. We'll see you tomorrow for the
Bye bye.
final day, day five.